I didn't.
Jack, you've already Googled it, so tell us what you Googled.
Oh, is it the... it looks like crab cakes. Like, it's a circular thing. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what's in it. All I know is what it looks like, because I looked at the images.
A timbale is a little bit of an ambiguous term, okay? Do you all know what ambiguous means?
Strange.
It's a little bit open. So essentially, a timbale is like a stack of veg, and it's usually moulded. So a little ring, okay? You stack your veg in, you bake it, and then you should be able to put it on your plate, lift the ring off, and it stay in a stack, okay? Traditionally, you'd have like a ratatouille or like a med veg, so you'd have courgettes, peppers, aubergines, tomatoes with tomato sauce. You build it up, press it in, bake it, and then go. You can kind of do whatever you want, really, in terms of what we've got in the kitchen. However, the one I'm going to do is going to be a cabbage and shallot with like a creamy sauce, because if I did like a tomatoey ratatouille type timbale with this dish, it's not going to work. It's not really going to go, because we've got Moules marinieres, so that's like creamy, garlicky, winey. So I'm going to alter the timbale to match my dish, but I still want that look. So the first thing we're going to do is prep the fish. Then you guys can all have a go at prepping the fish, and then I'll show you how to prep the timbale, and then towards the end I'll show you how to do the Moules mariniere, and then we're going to plate it up together, okay? You can use your imagination with plating. We've got loads of nice micro herbs and stuff. You can tweak things if you want to, and you be a little bit creative. But essentially we're looking at fish filleting skills, we're looking at your Moules mariniere, and how you make and prepare your timbale. Okay? Any questions so far? Are you recording, Jack?
Yeah, Paul's asked me to record all the lessons.
Oh. Thank you, Paul. That's helpful. Quality points in fish. What do we look for as chefs when we get our fish? So put your hands up if you can tell me something. Someone just grab me some blue roll from the back.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Cam, your hand was up first. Give me one quality point.
The eyes should be clear.
The eyes should be clear, yeah. So nice, thank you. Nice clear eyes. Jonas, did you have your hand up?
Yep.
Okay, give me a quality point.
The smell
Smell, yeah. What about the smell?
should smell fresh and nice.
Yeah, so fresh shouldn't be pungent. Should have a nice, almost kind of ocean smell rather than a pungent fishy smell. Jamie. Yeah, okay, so this is coming scaled, okay, but yeah, certainly if it's got scales on, it should be nice and firm and in. Jack?
It should be wet to the touch, but not slimy.
Yeah, okay, so sometimes they may be slightly slimy, okay, so if you look at this, it is wet, but it is a slight slime, but that's okay. And what I do before I always start prepping my fish is I just get some blue roll and I just dry it, because if you're prepping a fish that's slightly wet or slightly got that slime on it, you'll find it's difficult to handle.
Would your knife slip as well?
Sorry?
Would your knife slip? Like if...
Yeah, absolutely, it could do, yeah. So it's a safety point as well. If you're trying to fillet a wobbly fish and slippy, and you're going down, your knife could quite easily slip, couldn't it? Do you know about storing fish? How should we store fish?
On ice. On
ice, yeah, ideally. So fridge temperatures between what temperature are we looking at for fridges?
4, is it 2 to 6?
Yeah.
Okay, so 8's like legal limit.
Yeah.
So anything above 8 and you're breaking the law. But between 5 and 1 is good practice. But fish, ideally, should be stored at 0. So not frozen, okay, but very, very cold. Which is why whenever you get fish delivered, it'll always be delivered on ice. And actually, as a chef, it's beneficial to store it in your fridge on ice as well. Okay? It makes it last longer. So if you're ordering it and you need it for a couple of days, always put it on ice if you can.
Can you use the same ice as it comes?
Yeah, you can do. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so we've got our blue board. Okay, I'm just going to move away from the heat a little bit because it's burning my arm. I've got my knife. What knife is this?
filleting knife.
Yeah, what can you tell me about this?
It's the
Bends, yeah, so it's slightly bending. Okay, you need to try and make sure it's reasonably sharp as well, okay? There is the electric sharpener on the back if you've not sharpened your filleting knife for a little while. Now, chefs will always give you different ways to do this job, okay? There's obviously lots of ways you can do it. Find the way that you're comfortable, okay? As long as you get the end result, you'll be fine. Now, I am going to admit now that fish is not my strong point, okay? It's not my specialism. I can fillet fish, but it's not my kind of comfort zone.
Wouldn't expect you to, because you're
sorry?
a baker. I wouldn't have expected it with a chocolatier and a baker.
So what I always do, and what I've always been taught to do, with a round fish, okay, what's the other kind of fish? So this is a round fish.
Flatfish.
Flatfish, yeah. What's the main difference?
The one's flat and they have 2 fillets on each side.
Yeah, so 4 fillets on a flatfish, and then with a round fish you get 2, don't you?
Yeah.
So what I've always been taught to do is to chop the head off first, okay? Notice, how have I done that? What's different?
Straight across instead of out of V.
Yeah, but what tool am I using?
Oh, chef's knife.
Chef's knife, yeah. Okay, so make sure the knife is appropriate to the job. And what can we use this for?
Stock.
Yeah, what would you do to the head before you put it in the stock?
Take the eyes out.
Take the eyes out, yeah, well done guys. Okay, then, always go down the spine, okay, down the backbone, spine here. And you want to go as close to the bones as possible. Okay, and you should feel your knife clicking down the bone. So I will always go right down the spine first. And you could, if you wanted to, before you started, cut the fins off. I don't really see much of a benefit in that because I go either side of the fins and that's okay. But if you're more confident doing that, you can do. Okay, and then basically, with the end of your knife, just make strokes along the bone. And just take your time, okay?
It's sort of like what we did with the flatfish, you don't get 2 fillets out of it.
Yeah, the principle of filleting the fish is the same, okay? Run your knife along the bones. I would say flatfish are slightly easier. Okay, just really take your time. Little strokes with your knife. As you progress and you get more and more confident with filleting fish, you'll be able to do it with like almost one stroke down the fish. If you watch fishmongers, they are like insanely good.
I'm gonna say one like late night I was just watching loads of like filleting videos and it was just nice and satisfying.
Yeah.
And you kind of just slowly learn off them.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a really good trip which we've not obviously been able to do because of COVID, but we go to Billingsgate Fish Market, which is in London. It's the big.
Yeah, I've been. I saw.
It's great there. Okay, so then I'm just going to trim this belly off.
Just for shape.
Yeah, just shape, neaten it off. The belly's not the greatest bit of fish, and just trim it up. Okay, and then what I'll do before I go to use this is I'll pin bone it. So using my fish tweezers, I'll just go through and take any little bones, and I'll just tidy it up a little bit.
Have you got any spare? 'Cause I think I lost mine.
I think we have got spare. Okay, and again, just that bit there, like that. And what I might do for this dish is I might cut this down further and do like 3 kind of smaller pieces, so like 1.5 fillets, because these are quite big sea bass. And also thinking about profit margins, And then basically for the other side, it's exactly the same. So I'm just going to chop that.
So what would you like us to do with like the spare? If
So you can cook it. You just might not want to put it on your plate.
Oh, so at the
Okay.
end
So have a go at cooking it all.
Okay.
And again,
That could be like a taster.
yeah.
I'll taste one.
Oh, my knife is not very sharp. Shows how often I would use it. There's an amazing Australian chap. I can never remember his first name, but it's something Newland or Millen, and he does fish butchery, and he will break down fish like a butcher would do meat, and he literally uses every piece of the fish, and he even uses like fish skin in desserts.
Oh, he was on MasterChef, was he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've seen the video. Yeah, I saw the video because he like breaks it all down and like puts and suggests where
He
to like,
has
use them all.
a really good book.
Doesn't he use it in his ice cream?
Yeah.
Kind of sounds bad.
He has a really good book called The Whole Fish.
Apparently it's quite nice.
Okay, and then you'll get to a point where you can just cook right through. Okay.
Do you want us to leave the skin on? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll leave the skin on today. There we go. Now, considering I'm a pastry chef, it's not a terrible job. And then again, I'm just going to trim this down. And then before I go to use it, again, I'm going to pin bone it, okay? Which I can show you later on. Okay? So, I want you to get to that point, having two nice fillets. I'll give you...
Just on your butter.
sort of story there, chatting.
Yeah, it's supposed to caramelize.
Yeah.
I think you fry them off a little bit first and then.
So once I
Garlic
issue mine,
paste.
I'll talk you through it. Right, let me see if there's a bit.
Segregate the way it's from his shit.
Get rid of them.
Come round here, Jacob.
Right. So my fish is prepped. Okay. So my next job that I need to do is prepare my timbale. Okay. So I've just blanched off some cabbage and cooled it down in the blaster chiller. It actually froze slightly, but it's defrosted already. I've just sautéed some shallots and some garlic, and now I've added quite a lot of butter. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip all of my veg in the butter as I build it up on my tray. Okay?
Is this like what you did with like potato?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit.
Where you like layer it.
The timbale veg.
Yeah.
Potato.
Yes.
Timbale veg, yeah.
So I'm just going to put some tarragon in as well, just because I like tarragon. And there's lots and lots of different herbs to use up.
Lovely.
And I've also added some salt to this as well. Right, let me get a tray.
How come you wouldn't add pepper?
Sorry?
How come you wouldn't add pepper?
Yeah.
Yeah, but how come you wouldn't add pepper?
Because I'm not a huge peppery fan. I don't like adding loads of pepper to stuff. Because salt enhances the flavour, pepper changes the flavour, in my humble opinion. So I'm just going to oil this. You could, if we had some greaseproof paper, do a little bit of greaseproof paper around it, but I'm fairly confident that I'm not going to need that, okay? So I've oiled it. I'm going to, with another ring the same size, I'm just going to cut out rings. Okay, I'm going to dip it in my butter mixture. And then I'm going to layer it up, okay? I'm going to use some of the garlicky shallots as well. And then I'm also going to mandolin some carrot. So always when you're using the mandolin, be really, really careful. I couldn't see a guard, but usually you want to use a guard. So yeah, they're nice and thin. So just keep your fingers away from the end. If you go too close with your fingers, you will slice your fingers. Okay, it's very, very sharp.
Can you not do like the flat hand technique?
Yeah, you could do, yeah. But doing, if you've got a long carrot, trying to get small rounds with a flat hand is going to be hard.
True.
But the benefit with a carrot is that it is long, so you can hold it up. So when I get to that point, I'm going to stop, okay? And then, essentially, I'm just building this up. So I'm going to do a couple of layers of cabbage first. And I'm going to dip it in my butter. Throw my carrot in. And to be honest, at this point, I'm not going to be particularly neat with my carrot, because you won't see it. As long as there's an equal distribution of carrot. And we're going to do another cabbage. And you kind of get the idea, don't you? Do some onion, or shallot, sorry. Do some more carrot.
And then you baked, is that?
Yeah.
And it should all stay together when you take it out.
Yeah, so I'm going to make sure that I squash it down well as well. So it needs to be quite compact, and every time I do it, just squeeze it down. And as I said at the start, you don't necessarily have to do this combination. However, this will go nicely with the Moules mariniere and with the sea bass. Okay, so I'm not just automatically doing like a ratatouille type timbale. I'm doing it so it matches my dish. And I could, with all these offcuts, I wouldn't have to get rid of them. I could use them in between the layers as well, so there's no waste. And I want this to be tall enough to have an impact on the plate. Okay? I don't want it to be flat. I also don't want it to be humongous. And what I would do if I was doing this for a service, I'd have these all prepped in the fridge, all ready to go, and then as my orders come on, I'd just heat them up as and when I needed them. Because it won't take that long from chilled to warm this through. So like we've talked in recent weeks and previous weeks, okay, it's all about mise en place, getting everything ready so that when we're ready to plate, all we've got to do is heat things up and cook our fish, and our fish will literally take minutes to
Makes
cook.
sense.
Do you know what top layer? Would
Yeah.
is that like depend? Would that matter which layer it would be like?
No, not really. What I would say, if you use the carrots for your top layer, to make sure that they're nice and neat, okay? So don't just plonk them on. Put them in a nice orderly fashion. Okay, so you've got to think about the impact on the plate. Okay, you want it to look nice and pretty. I'm probably going to do one more layer of each, and then that's it. And I'm going to do my top layer as cabbage.
What was the oil for?
The oil just to stop it from sticking. But to be honest, there's so much butter in there as well that the likelihood of it sticking is pretty low. Okay, and then last but not least, we're going to go in. We'll use, get this nice shallot in. And get that on. And again, I'm compacting it every time. The compacting that's going to help it stand, okay, when we're done.
Structure.
Yeah, give it structure. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to chill it just until I'm ready to serve, okay, or ready to start cooking, and then I'll get that in the oven as I probably start making my Moules mariniere. And my Moules mariniere is going to be dead quick as well. That will take 10 minutes, my fish will take 5 minutes, this will probably take 10 minutes to warm through. So I'm going to clean this down, I'm going to get my Moules mariniere prepped, so my shallots, my garlic, get some wine, get some cream, get some butter, check my mussels, and then we're ready to go. Okay?
Where should
Yeah.
we put the fish from the
I've just put mine in the fridge in the container. Okay, just while it's waiting. Okay, so you can get your timbales prepped. Dish now. Okay, so my timbale's done. It's been chilled. It's nice and compact. I keep squashing it down just to reassure myself. My fish has been prepped. I've got my mussels. Now, what are some quality points in mussels? What are we looking for? Could you guys just spread around it so Aisha can see? Sorry. Jimmy.
beads removed?
Yeah, so beards removed, so if there's any furry bit, just pull it out. Cam?
Shouldn't be open, should be closed.
Absolutely, so if they're open and you give them a shake and they don't close, get rid of them.
Means they're dead.
Yeah, it means they're dead.
And then like the white stuff should be taken off it.
Barn-
Yeah,
Like
so any
barn-
barnacles that are
Then
on
you've
there.
got the little bits as well that have to be removed.
Yeah, so basically their shells should be nice and clear, nice and clean, okay? So I've just ran these under some water really quickly. I've debearded them. And if there's any white bits or anything, just get your small knife and just scrape it off, okay? And they should be closed. If they're open, they're dead. Don't
cracks.
cook them. Yeah, no cracks either, so nice clean jug. Do you have something else to say?
Yeah, I was going to say the cracks.
Okay, cool. So I've also then just prepped half a shallot, so roughly kind of finely diced. Sliced some garlic. I've got some tarragon, dill and chives. Sorry, I've got parsley, dill and chives. And I've got a knob of butter. Okay, I've also got some cream and some white wine to hand. So the first thing I'm going to do now, because my mussels are going to take around about 5 or 10 minutes. My fish is going to take around about 5 or 10 minutes. And this will take around about 10 minutes to warm through. So I'm going to get this in the oven warming up, okay? You could, if you wanted to, put a little bit of foil over it if you didn't want it to colour at all, but a little bit of colour isn't going to harm it, okay? So that goes in, and that's in at about 200. So these gas ovens and electric ovens, I always put a little bit hotter. Normally you'd want to put it in about 180, 190. but these aren't the greatest, so I always put them on 200 just to get a bit more heat in. I'm going to put my mussel pan on, and I'm going to get my frying pan warming, okay? I don't want them to be too hot at this point. I'm just going to then finish prepping my fish. So I've deboned this already, and then I just want to cut it down a little bit. So I'm going to cut at a nice angle. So these little bits we could use to make some fish cakes, we could use in our stock. There's lots of things we could do with them. So this is going to give me 4 nice shapes, but for my dish I'll probably only serve 3. But obviously in the industry or in the restaurant, you'd be able to prep them all and you'd use them all, okay? There wouldn't be any wastage. But you are going to cook it all today. I did have a little bottle of oil. Has someone got the oil for me?
Might be, I don't know.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start then cooking my mussels. I'm just going to lightly coat my fish in oil. So coat the skin
Why?
in oil.
Most do.
Because what I want to do when I'm cooking my fish is I want to have the oil on the fish, not in the pan. Okay, and I'll show you why when we start frying it. But it's the same as if we're frying a steak. You usually want to oil the steak, not the pan. Okay, exactly the same. And then I will just season this. Again, my salt's gone missing. Has anyone got the salt?
Sea salt.
Yeah, sea salt's fine. So I'm just going to season it as well. I don't want to season it too early. Why would I not want to season it too early?
Fall off.
It would dry out the fish.
Yeah, it will dry out. It will start extracting the moisture. We don't want that. So it's just ready, because now everything's happening at once, okay? So I need to know that I've got everything ready. So, first thing in my mussels pan is oil. Then I'm going to add my shallots. Not too much oil. You don't want this to be greasy, because we're going to make our sauce in our pan. So just enough so they don't stick and don't burn, okay? I don't want it too hot either at this stage. I don't want to burn my shallots. So move it onto a slightly hotter heat. So I know I've said this to you before, but whenever I use one of these electric hobs, I always have my back one on low. So if I need to take this off and put it on a lower heat, I can just do that, because they take a long time to cool down. And this one I always have on medium, so I've got somewhere just to pre-warm my pans. Okay, so you're just sweating these off. So what do we mean by sweat?
Reduce colouring.
Yeah, so cook without colour. It needs to go translucent. I don't want loads of colour on my shallots. Okay? Okay, I'm then going to go in with my mussels. So there's a little bit of water still in there, that's why it's spitting, so just be careful.
Roughly how many do you want?
So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're only doing 1 plate of food. Okay, I'm then going to add my garlic. And I'm also going to add a nice knob of butter. And again, I've added my garlic, so I really don't want this to burn now. Because if my garlic burns, it's going to, what will happen? What will happen? So what happens to garlic when we overcook it and it goes brown?
Shake away all the flavours.
What happens to the flavour? No?
Not a clue.
Loses it? Not bitter.
We don't have a clue.
Bitter, thank you. It goes bitter. Okay, so now I'm going to add my wine. Okay, so my mussels are open already. My mussels are pretty much cooked. So now I want to make my sauce in here. So I've added my wine. I'm going to reduce my wine. Then I'm going to finish it with cream. Okay, so let that come up to the boil. Then I'm going to move on to the back. Now I'm going to start thinking about my fish. Okay, I'm also going to check my timbale, so that's warming nicely. This is starting to boil. This is good. This is nice and warm. So that's reducing. So I'm going to place my fish. I'm just going to check that it's hot first with one of these small pieces. Yeah, that's fine. So can you hear that sizzle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm going to place my fish in. So notice I haven't added any more oil to my pan. And what I don't want to do is keep turning my fish. I'm going to do almost all of my cooking on the skin side, okay? So I'm basically going to leave that. What I may do is with my fish slice is just squash them down slightly, but I'm basically going to leave that, okay? When you cook fish, you need to cook it with a bit of confidence, okay? Don't panic, don't keep turning it over. You'll just ruin the skin. I'm confident that I can see, my pan's not too hot, it's not going to burn, okay? But I can see, I don't know if you guys can see, the fish starts to go white as it cooks, okay? I want it to go above halfway on my fish before I turn it. So a couple of minutes on this side, and then literally 30 seconds on the other side, and that'll be perfect. And I'll probably finish it with just a little bit of butter, okay? Because we love butter. And again, I'm just going to just press them down, just to make sure the skin is nice and evenly cooking. And if you want, you can cook these little bits off as well. And you'll notice there will be more oil that comes out of the fish. So again, I don't need excess amounts of oil. Yes, Joe?
Are you allowed to like squeeze lemon juice on while it's cooking?
If you want to, towards the end, yeah. Okay, so now my wine's reducing. I'm almost ready to add my cream. I want it to reduce just a little bit more, okay? So whilst I'm doing that, I can just tidy my table up a little bit because I'm going to plate my dish on here in a minute. I've got a knob of butter ready to go in with my fish. And again, I've not touched my fish, I've not turned it yet. Okay, I'm quite relaxed about it. I'm going to add my cream to this now. So you don't want too much cream, okay? You don't want it to be a super creamy sauce. You don't want to lose the white wine effect. You don't want to lose the flavour of it. We just want to add the cream almost just to finish it, okay? So the wine and the mussels and the shallots will have made a nice stock. Okay, and now I'm going to bring it back up to the boil with my cream, let it reduce a bit more to thicken, and then I'm going to finish it with my herbs, and then I will season it as well, okay? And then that's my sauce and garnish done. So my fish, you can see now, it's almost halfway up the fish. These smaller ones I'm just going to turn over. And you'll see that will give you a beautiful, perfect, crispy skin. See that first one that went in? That's beautiful. It's just what we want. Okay, we don't want soggy skin. My mussels are coming along nicely. Just going to check my timbale. Okay, so that's bubbling away nicely. Can you see? I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. You can see it's warming up nicely. It's colouring nicely as well. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my fish over. So can you see? It's almost above halfway. It's gone white. Just the very top is now translucent. Okay, I've not panicked. I've not turned it. I'm not checking to see if it's crisping or sticking. And now really carefully turn it over. Use your fingers just to steady it. Literally 30 seconds on that side, then I'm going to take it off. And what I want is just a little plate to take it out onto. And that skin is beautifully crisp.
What temperature is that on?
This
Yeah.
is I would say just below high. Okay, just below the highest temperature it will go. But you need to control your heat. Okay, this is on the electric oven, the electric hob, sorry, and it's on, I think it's on 5. But you guys need to control your heat and feel for it. If you feel it's too hot, just turn it down a little bit. Okay, don't just keep it on one heat and kind of cook the hell out of your fish. So I'm now going to take that off. I'm just going to pop it on this plate just to rest. So exactly the same as we would do with meat. Okay, we're going to allow it time to rest. Okay, and that's lovely. Right, that's going to go over there. Okay, so now I'm just going to check my mussels. What do I do with my sauce before I serve it?
Strain it.
No,
I'll take the mussels on.
Taste.
What taste it?
taste, absolutely.
Yeah, Jamie, good job.
Well done, Kieran.
Oh, you used to
Okay,
say
I haven't got a spoon, so I'll just taste it with this.
That's dangerous.
It's not dangerous. Okay, I'm going to add my herbs.
Is that what your mummy told you?
That is what my mummy told me.
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay, so plenty of herbs. I want it to be nice and herby, but also provide a little bit of colour. Nice contrast, yes.
Oh, big words.
He's been saving that one for a while.
Well
I
done.
know, yeah, I know.
So
Yeah.
waiting for the time.
Okay, so I'm then going to plate it up, but it's entirely up to you how you guys want to plate it. I like big white plates. What did you say?
Is that you?
Hey guys,
Well, you don't want to stay behind.
can I just remind you that next to you is an iPad that's
Oh, yeah.
recording
You might as well tell him.
It weren't bad.
everything. So tell me.
Weren't bad.
I just said racist, that's all I said. It weren't that funny.
Oh, no, that's not funny at all.
No, it's not.
No, we all just have immature humour. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, so moment of truth.
Don't say that.
Well, it could all collapse and go wrong, couldn't it?
I hope.
You assured us that it would contain its structure.
I don't think I assured you.
You did.
You said if you put it in the blast chiller and press it down, it will remain.
No, he didn't say it's guaranteed. He said it should.
Yeah, thank you.
That's just if you've got steady hands like him. So
Yeah.
it's going to collapse. I'm telling you, it's going to
I didn't say. I never sell my food on.
collapse. Ooh.
Thank you, thank you.
And you call me gay.
I almost,
I'm not.
I almost said boom, but as you were recording me, I thought better. Okay, so as I said, it's entirely up to you how you want to plate it up. So I'm kind of wishing I did it a bit more of a on the
Off-centre.
side now, yeah. Okay, so off
Finesse.
centre.
At least your butter juices ain't marked the plate.
Yes.
So I should think where you're going to play it before you play it.
If you're
You're going to get a slap in a minute.
If you're going to put it in the centre, you're better off leaving the fish hole, ain't you?
It really depends. Really does. Now, with your sauce, you can either keep the mussels whole, okay, because some people like the presentation of the mussels being whole. Personally, I really hate things on the plate that I can't eat, okay, so I don't like having a plate of food where I have to pick things out of it. And that's...
You don't like chicken wings?
No, can't stand them. That's literally just my personal preference, okay? That's nothing to do with assessments, that's nothing to do with what's expected of you guys. If you serve them in the shell, that's fine. But as I said, I don't really like that, so I'm going to take mine out.
It's just bulky, I suppose.
And then,
Just fills the plate up.
Yeah.
but why does your plate need filling up?
For
It
fun.
looks like you're getting more for your money than you actually are.
Okay, but
Is that something that work told you?
so I get that, okay, that's fine. But actually, I don't think I need to kind of trick my customers in thinking that they've got good value for money, because I think
The food should do
they
it.
can taste my food and know that they've got value for money.
Yeah, but half the time you get people complaining that they're only
Put your neck
small.
back in your shell.
Okay, something like that. Plenty of sauce. There's nothing worse than serving a beautiful sauce and not giving the customer enough of it.
Going
And
on your
then-
Instagram.
No, I
beautiful plate of
I
food I
just
made.
I don't have Instagram. I just want to know what it looks like.
guys, let's not like laugh at someone for taking photos. That's absolutely fine.
We're sat here recording the whole thing. I can't really.
Right.
I can't speak.
Okay.
And if mine goes wrong, it just claims dance as mine. Because my mum wants to see everything I make. I don't know why.
That's fair enough.
Quality
Did you make
control.
this?
Yeah, man.
So when your mum asks you to make some food, that's if you're allowed in the kitchen, and you produce something that doesn't look like this,
She'll be like, wait.
yeah, she'll be like,
That was a waste of 200 quid for both. Make you work back for the money.
precision.
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 The precision.
Precision?
users.
I just want to
I
throw it
can't
on my
speak
note.
today.
Today.
That and what you didn't know is Dan's part of the next bomb squad.
Yeah.
On video again.
Okay.
At least he didn't say he was in the IRA, because that would be something that Jamie said.
Jack.
Hello.
You're on video.
I can mute the audio for that bit. I'm in control of the edit.
Talking. Okay.
I mean, it's only us that's going to see it.
Okay.
True.
And put
Done.
YouTube.
Apple, yeah.
And I'm not like blowing my own trumpet, but I'd give that a distinction. I mean, I blow my own trumpet. Okay.
If you don't, who will?
Exactly.
Because we ain't.